Boom, here we go. It is Thursday night. I am live. My name is Matt. This is Why Libertarian. We are supposed to have a guest tonight. He may or may not be running a little late, so we'll see if Matt can get in here. But regardless, we are rolling. So before I get started, like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, retweet, get this out there. We're talking about the HIVE blockchain tonight. I am live on a couple of blockchains right now. So if you are watching, or you will watch in the future on the blockchain, please upvote me. It is the only way I'm monetized right now. I do not take a penny from traditional tech companies. And so help me out in that regard and help get that uplisted in terms of the search on those platforms as well. So, and as usual, on the scroll below, you can check out my link tree to find all of the places that I am currently either streaming to or I upload content to. If you are a podcast listener, I'm on most of the podcast platforms where you listen to podcast content. So just look for Why Libertarian and you will find me, or you can check that out on my link tree on the Anchor address. So what are we talking about tonight? We are talking about HIVE. We are talking about HIVE tips and tricks. I've been on the HIVE platform for a couple of months right now, and so it is something that has a learning curve that's associated with it. It is something that takes some time to really kind of, I'm not sure anyone even really masters it, right? It's a technology that's so wide open that it takes time to really kind of, you know, figure out where everything is and kind of how it works, and then also where to go for different things. And it's constantly evolving because it's a blockchain that is being built as we speak. At this very moment, things are happening to kind of evolve the blockchain and increase the number of apps that are built on that platform. So without further ado, I am going to share and again, there's a couple of different ways that you can view the HIVE blockchain, all right? I am going to show you pretty much the most basic kind of way to look at it. This is essentially my feed, my blog or my posts from hive.blog, all right? You see a number of, obviously, the recent posts that I have put up here, okay? If you notice, there is two different tabs. One says blog, one says posts. The posts are what you are imprinting onto the blockchain. It's what you are creating and generating and entering an entry onto the blockchain for it to be memorialized, and that data gets cemented within, you know, that block that you're adding it to. The blog itself is the total collection of things. So you can reblog things, right? Like you can in traditional social media where you like reshare or retweet and things like that. And so you'll notice mine looks fairly similar, and something that was actually given to me as a little bit of a hint early on was at the beginning, you typically don't share your own stuff, right? Like it's on traditional social media, you're not sharing your own things. part of the relearning process of the blockchain, specifically with social media, is you are actually going to like reshare your own stuff. And it's not that you're resharing it, you're actually like doing one entry to imprint something on the blockchain, and then you're going to hit this little kind of like squared off arrow right here in order to reblog so that it shows up in your blog. Now, if I'm following someone, and so if I go to the Hive blog and I say, I look at my friends here, okay, and I'm looking at one of the people that I'm following, I can look at either or, right? I can look at their blog or I can look at their posts. But when I'm viewing it through most of the platforms that are essentially kind of like filtering the blockchain, you're going to see mostly, you're going to see what they've blogged, right? What they've posted and reblogged of their own, and then also what they've just reblogged of other people that have put out there. And so that is why you always want to reblog your own content. You want to make sure that it's being put into that, more general blog feed than it is just in the posts that you're imprinting on the blockchain. And so just to kind of like give you an example here, if I go to a lot of these are like reblogs. So Marco is actually an individual on the blockchain where, like, if you delegate Hive to Marco's account, he will actually automatically reblog your stuff. So you'll see a lot of reblogs from Marco, but say I go to like Britt and Josie here, all right, and I can view Britt and Josie's full blog, meaning all of Britt's things that have been essentially reblogged, right? Or if I want to see just all of the pure posts that have been created or put onto the blockchain from this account, I can look at these posts. And if you notice, this also mirrors like what my own personal account looks like, right? So I can actually go look at other people's accounts and see what they have posted. It is completely transparent. Again, you can be like anonymized, like not have a picture of yourself, different name, a phantom email address or something like that, and keep things completely anonymous, or you can be who you are. The one thing to remember is that the majority, actually pretty much all of the data that is put onto the blockchain is transparent. It is searchable. You can find, what is going on the blockchain, all right? So that's the first tip. It is reblog your posts. It might seem redundant, but it's actually, there's a reason. You reblog your own posts to make sure that it's a part of the full blog here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to share with you is the blockchain itself has a number of accounts or entities or organizations, whatever you want to call them, that are there to kind of help broadcast information. And so they're not broadcasting information on the blockchain because that's where it's being stored. What they're doing is they're trying to broadcast that information to other members that are viewing the blockchain. And so in some cases, like in traditional social media world, that looks like a kind of like a share for share, right? Like you share someone else's stuff and they share your stuff, right? It is a way of kind of amplifying your content so that you can share someone else's content to your network and then vice versa, and it helps you both. It's symbiotic in that way. The one that I'm going to pull up here, and actually I preemptively took off the screen share, but I can bring up the same tab here. If I go and I search for, I believe it's just the terminal. All right, if I look for the terminal, it should bring up, now here's the difference. The terminal typically doesn't post a lot of stuff. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pop over to peakd.com, peakd.com. I interviewed Jarvie before, who's one of the devs and one of the founders of PeakD, and he will be coming back, I believe, next week to talk about some of the additional things that can be done with PeakD. But so if I log in, and again, this is part of the blockchain learning process, you have different ways you can log in. You could actually put your username in and do it manually with your keys and stuff. I am signed up with Hive Signer, so I just click Hive Signer. There is a single password that I have allowed my browser to memorize, and that gets me in to PeakD so that I can see the blockchain and filter it through PeakD, which is a front end. It's a different front end. So if I search for the terminal, I believe I will come up with a different user interface here. And if you notice, this is obviously much different than just hive.blog, right? And so the very first response here, or the very first result, is the terminal with a reputation score, which is also something that I don't think people are used to in traditional social media world. A reputation score has to do with, how often you post, how much interaction you get. It also has to do with how much crypto is in your account. So all of those things contribute to your reputation score, and obviously the higher your reputation score, I would say the more reputable you are as a user of the blockchain. So if you click on the terminal is actually an entity, an organization that helps folks really kind of get up and running with their content on the Hive blockchain, and it also is an avenue for being able to help magnify your content. The first thing you notice here is if you look at the terminal, first of all, a reputation score of 65 is really good. Okay, so obviously this account is well followed and has a good reputation score. But on top of that, the link is the Discord server. You'll notice that a lot of these kind of like support accounts that are set up, or these support micro ecosystems that are set up on the Hive blockchain, all have Discord servers that are dedicated toward them. And so that's not necessarily a bad thing. I believe there are a couple of folks that are working on a Discord-esque solution on the Hive blockchain, one of which being, I believe, Jarvie with PeakD. So we will talk to him about that next week when we sit down with him for the second time. But so if you click on this, you'll obviously have to have a Discord account. A lot of communication happens off of the blockchain on Discord right now. That will change. But a lot of that it's learning type stuff. It's things that happen off of the blockchain that help people, figure out how to use the blockchain. So again, you're dealing with a very steep learning curve here. So the people that are part of this community, a lot of them, the first movers, a lot of them are either one of two things. They're either developers, meaning they're developing apps and software that go onto the blockchain, or two, they are these support people that are here. They're the, if you're a sports follower, a sports fan, they're the glue guy, right? Like they're the person that kind of like keeps everyone together and helps everyone kind of like move forward and improve. Well, the folks that run the terminal are those kind of folks. So I'm not actually going to click on this because it'll bring up the hyperlink to the Discord web applet that's on my browser here. But what I can do is I can share my actual Discord app here if it will allow me. Hold on. Here we go. So this is the Discord front end here. And so if you notice, this is the terminal server right up here. It says the terminal. There are tons of channels within the terminal. All right. There's a couple of main ones that you need to know. Obviously, the welcome one welcomes you, gives you some baseline information. The general chat is really important. So if you scroll down, I believe it just says general chat text. This is where a lot of just the banter and things like that happens on the daily basis in the terminal. If you have questions, you can throw them right into here. And as you can see, there is tons of interaction that happens in the general chat on the terminal server. Then the other thing that you have to do is once you get in, you're gonna put this hello into the general chat, like great to be here. My name is whatever your username is. Very short intro. Then what they will do is they will assign you one of two promo channels. All right, the promo channels are kind of what they sound like. There's Hive Promo Redfish and then Hive Promo Members. All right. Members channel is basically people that have been around for a while. They have a high level of authority or reputation score. They have a lot of powered up Hive, meaning crypto invested in the platform. They have they've been there for a while, right? Like they know what they're doing. So they get to promote their stuff in that channel. Then there's the Redfish, which are basically the newbies. Like you're green, you're brand new. Maybe you don't have a ton of Hive or anything like that already. You haven't done a lot of posting. So what you can do is you can promo your post in here. So I will walk you through this process, but so you can promo your first post. You can promote every post if you want. And in fact, it looks like Matt's trying to call me through Discord right now. But hopefully he has the link. Hold on, let's see. He sent me a couple. He said, "Oh fuck, Eastern time. Just got off work. No, so we'll have to reschedule with Matt. So, but hold on, I'll just throw it in right now. We'll reschedule. I'm rolling online right now. So we'll reschedule with Matt because, like I said, he was in the show notes. He is one of the first connections I made on Hive, and he was actually following me while I was proselytizing Hive before I made my main account. And he was, he was really instrumental in getting me some of this information. So he actually helped direct me towards the terminal. So anyway, so you can promote any of your posts. The first one, every single one, whatever you want to do. This is a one hand washes the other kind of thing. So what you do is you actually have to help two other people that have put posts in the channel that they want to promote by upvoting and essentially commenting on their stuff. And then it's not necessarily required, but it's also nice if you reblog the post. So what you can do is you can actually scroll through the terminal and look at people's posts that have been included in this promo channel, and go check them out, read them, see what they're about. If they're of interest to you and you would like to promote them, then what you will do is you'll upvote them. You will give them a comment or a reply that basically says, "Oh, this is fantastic information," or a great recipe, or like beautiful photography, things like that, right? To start a conversation with those people. Then on top of that, you can reblog it. But when it comes time for you to want to promote a post, you have to do two. You have to help out two people, and then you get to put a post up. So if you help out two people, then when you do your post, just like Prince of Bayhive here has done, you put in supported, the two mentions of the people who you supported, and then you give the link of the post that you want to promote. Okay, so I'm going to take a time out here. This helps because you're putting it into a channel that other people are going to see your post, and then hopefully they upvote it and reblog it and things like that, and you get more reach for your content. But on top of that, there is also something else that goes along with this, where I am doing the giveaway for Hive on May 31st. So live, I'll be giving away 100 Hive on May 31st. And so if I share this here, and actually I can pull it up in Peak D, Jarvie will be happy if I do it that way. Let me pull out this screen, and then I'll go back to Peak D, and I will show you that if I go to communities and I click on the Liberty community, you see all of basically the posts that are here. I've done some live casts and things like that. In fact, most of my live casts I share on there. But you will see that there's a couple of posts. The first two pinned ones are the video showing you how to enter into the giveaway, and then also an example introduce yourself post on the Liberty community on Hive. If you put one of these posts up, you can then also take that post, go add yourself into the terminal. So you go to the terminal, you click on the Discord link, you go into Discord, you get yourself into the terminal server. You can get assigned one of those channels and promote your post on the terminal server and get some more reach on your post. So what does that give you? Well, I'm going to show you an example of someone who has entered the Liberty Hive giveaway. And this is Nelson right here. Nelson entered. He did an introduce myself post on the Liberty platform. Nelson has on his post, and this was a little over a week ago, so he's actually already been paid out on this post. There was roughly a little over 14 Hive awarded on this post. And so the author gets half, and then the people that helped curate also get half, meaning the people that helped interact, share, upvote, things like that, they get a share as well, because this is a symbiotic relationship. So that basically means that, Nelson entered this contest and has a shot at 100 Hive on May 31st. But what he's also done is he's earned crypto on the actual post entry, right? This is going to be a reoccurring theme. You're going to see people over time. When I interviewed Snook and Shadows Pub, they do things to promote stuff. And normally when you think of marketing, you think of an expense part, right? Like you think of that as an expense where you're going to have to pay to market your products, your services, or whatever you're trying to talk about. That's not necessarily the case on the blockchain. On the blockchain, you can post something that's engaging, that is marketing for like a business that you're working on, but you could actually earn off of that post. So it's not necessarily a cost item. It ends up becoming an additional stream of revenue. And if you think about it, it's because on traditional social media, you are the product. You're creating the content. You're making social media great. Like, what would YouTube be without people putting videos out on YouTube, right? Like that is the main part of Web 3.0 as far as decentralized social media goes. You are creating the content. Sitting next to me in the room, by the way, is resident troll Rants and Whiskey, and he's saying, I came on for the other Matt. This Matt's awful. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's why I invited Matt on. And Matt's laughing, and he comes on and he says he's on the West Coast, didn't register the time zone difference. So again, Matt, we'll get you on. Don't worry. There's going to be more opportunities. But so yeah, on social media, you are the product, or at least you're creating the product, right? Your presence is what draws other people, and that's also part of the reason why Hive is doing such, or it's highly prioritized on the Hive blockchain to build these communities of people that support each other. All right. Let's see. There's also I'm going to stick with Discord this go around because I found that Discord has been kind of like a really good coordination point for things that are happening elsewhere on the Hive blockchain. So obviously you could go to each one of the apps and things like that on the Hive blockchain, and there will be things that you will learn. We can talk about, tags and keywords. We've talked a little bit about community, community posting areas on Hive, which, by the way, Jarvie and I will talk more about. I talked with Jarvie during the first interview. It's really it's going to be the lifeblood of Hive going forward. You've gotten a lot of early adopters right now that are there because they appreciate the tech. They want to develop something new, create something that has never existed before. But, eventually what's going to populate Hive with more and more people is going to be these communities and what the communities are centered around, which is part of the reason why I'm, banging the drum trying to build the Liberty community on Hive to get a lot of those folks there. Not to mention the fact that the technology really kind of fits with just the overall principles of liberty and freedom and decentralization. All right, so let's see, what else? If I go over onto here, there's also each one of the apps, for the most part, has a server as well. So one of the ones that I actually use and again, another way to enter into the giveaway is if you go on Twitter, if you're a Twitter user, go to my profile, the pinned tweet at the top of my profile is a step-by-step graphical representation of how to get in on the giveaway. Again, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, the 31st, I will be giving away 100 Hive. So if I go back to Discord here, I will show you, this is the Leo Finance server right here. So this one with the lion on the left, this is the Leo Finance server. Leo Finance is actually one that I've recommended to a lot of people to get started because they were the founders and the devs at Leo Finance are some of the people at the forefront of developing and building kind of the accessibility of Hive, some of the additional applications. Their sign-up process fixed a big, issue with some of the Hive sign-up, process in the past. And so I've actually directed people in the instruction video, as well as within that pinned tweet, the graphical representation, to go to leofinance.io in order to sign up and get their account, which is the beauty of the ecosystem. You have someone who runs an app on Hive that is essentially, and actually it's even more than an app because they have their own tokens. They have Leo tokens and things like that you can earn, but they have innovated, and that innovation, it seems very basic, but it is a way to drive traffic to their front end, to their way of viewing and accessing the data on the blockchain, as opposed to YouTube is YouTube, right? So like you can ask for things to be developed on YouTube or changed, but ultimately there's only one central authority as far as what gets added to YouTube. Anyone who is in the open source software space understands this a little bit better. This idea of open source versus closed source. Like, if you know the code of the blockchain and you know how to access it, then you could build pretty much anything you want and make anything you want, which is a free market at work. It is a way of getting people to create things that are new, that are, competitive, that are going to outcompete some of the other options that are out there in the ecosystem. So this is the Leo Finance server right here. Again, there's a ton of channels on here. The general chat is absolutely fantastic. Matt, if you notice, his username is Unorg Militia. He is actually pretty active there. Something that when I do get him on, I would love to talk to him about is, so Leo Finance has their own token called Leo Token. There's also this crypto that they essentially built, which is called Cub. I don't even understand it. It's actually incredible. And look, on the Discord server, Inertia is saying, "Hi, Y Libertarian," right in the live cast. So it is, again, this is a community. People are watching. They take part. They want you to be a part of it, and they want the overall ecosystem to succeed, because ultimately they gain along with you gaining. It's not just one direction. It is something that is, again, I keep using the word, but symbiotic. So that's Leo Finance. Leo Finance is a DeFi, mostly DeFi information, meaning decentralized finance. So they talk a lot of crypto. They talk a lot of NFTs, but not necessarily the way that we talked NFTs when I interviewed Crimson Clad. More so, they talk about NFTs as financial vehicles, right? So whether or not you can use them as collateral to lend against or leverage up, right? And other applications, like not just art applications, but applications that are associated with assets and things like that aren't just art or visual assets. Could be music assets, could be art, pictures of architecture, it could be all kinds of stuff, right? So that is Leo Finance. There's also one for Vim. So I am streaming right now on Vim TV, VIMM.TV. It is a blockchain alternative to Twitch. I am also on Twitch currently. So if you are on the Twitch platform, throw me a follow. That's over there. But so essentially on the Vim platform, they talk about kind of like user-generated type stuff or user stuff in terms of the interface, how to get the most out of it. Obviously, upcoming changes or evolutions to the actual platform. So that's somewhere that you can get some information. And then there's actually a general HIVE server that's out here, and I believe if I click this, I can send a invite people, and I can copy the address, and I'm actually going to throw that into the comments here so people can get into the general HIVE Discord chat or Discord server. Tons of stuff gets talked about here. Basically, up and coming projects, general news, and it's often there's a community, so it's also some gossip and stuff like that also gets talked about. They talk about governance. You can just be a fly on the wall in here and look at some of the things that are being talked about and begin to kind of glean some information about what's going on and what's what in the community. And if you ask questions, people are more than happy to answer them for you. So do not be afraid to be ignorant. It is new, and it's fantastic because you get to learn new things that you would never have learned before, right? Had you not been on this platform. And quite frankly, didn't exist until blockchain has begun to, kind of grow and become more of a presence in the world. So I would definitely check that out. The last one I would look at is, this is also Luxax. So anyone who is a poker player, Luxax is the online, Hive equivalent to online poker. And so they do a ton of tourneys and stuff like that. So, obviously they share, the tourney start times and things like that, other kinds of announcements and awards and giveaways and stuff for that actual platform. So Luxax is fun. I haven't necessarily actually played around with it a ton. They have kind of like a tokening system on there that I need to get up to speed with in order to figure out kind of how to get on the mix there. But, I love playing poker. I'm not great at it, but I love playing it nonetheless. So that is also another area that you can get some basic information about the platform. So let me see. I don't want to go too long because, again, these are more kind of like, nitpicky kind of like tips and tricks and stuff like that. I think the last thing I would say is, what you need to do is kind of like surf the platform to see what works. All right. And so if I pull up just the general feed of the Hive blog and some of the things that I'm following, you're going to see that there's ways to sort, and you're going to be able to figure out, what people are posting about and does it travel, right? Like, people interact with it. So for instance, if I just put trending, these are the things that are kind of like the most popular, kind of getting the most interaction, right? So obviously you're seeing things that have, 958 upvotes, 415 upvotes. And what you need to do is go there and see what these accounts are. Are they individuals? Are they collectives? Are these kind of like promotion type of accounts, or are they, individuals that are generating this type of content? I can tell you that the things really recently that have gotten a lot of travel are just, and continue to, are these humanizing stories. They are stories about things that are going on in the world or to people. The conflict between Israel and Palestine recently obviously has been a hot topic for posts pretty much everywhere, but no exception here on the Hive blockchain. I can tell you this is one of the first places that I turned to for information when that fighting started, to try and get a more rounded and, again, uncensored view of what's going on, and trying to get some firsthand accounts of what is happening in that region. And you have people that are there in real time posting things to the blockchain, not to mention the fact that they live forever on the blockchain as well. So it's not like, someone is going to post something and all of a sudden it gets proven wrong and they can just kind of revisionist history it away. That's not the way it works. They are posting things. There's a lot of live, raw video and data and stuff like that that has been shared on these blogs. And so this was one of the first places I came to when I was looking for information on what was going on over there. You'll see there's other things over here. Obviously, COVID continues to be a big deal in terms of the posts that get a lot of traction or a lot of attention. There's also, decentralized finance is one that gets a lot. So obviously within the last couple of days, we've had a big dip in terms of crypto, pretty much across the board. But so, obviously crypto continues to be on the blockchain a very popular piece of content to write about and to kind of like, teach people about. There's also this great little, there are some of these like microcosms or micro communities on the Hive blockchain, one of which is something that is extremely important to me and becoming more important, is the homesteading, self-reliance, self-sufficiency type people that are doing gardening. Some of them are just kind of like lone posts where it's individuals talking about food forests and sustainable gardening and things like that. And then there's also posts that are made in the natural medicine community. If you notice, this is a post from Natural Medicine talking about, growth and, garden journals and kind of looking or watching people go through the process of trying to grow their own food or medicinal herbs and things like that. All of that, again, is very humanizing. And if you notice, it's not like every so often there's a post that's like about, kind of like an axe to grind or gripey type of stuff. there's not a lot of shit posting right now. I don't know if that's going to change over time with more people migrating to this platform, but you don't see a ton of trolling. You don't see a ton of people that are just like, posting something to be inflammatory. The things that get upvoted are extremely well thought out. They're typically well structured and reasoned and worded and put together. And you don't have to be a content creator to interact on the platform. Again, the people that get posts upvoted, there's also a curator piece where some of the crypto goes to the people that have interacted with the posts. So if you want to be someone who adds value by replying and things like that, you can get upvotes by replying. You can get curation rewards by reblogging and adding to the community and interacting with that content, not necessarily creating it, right? But if I pull up one of these, posts, these are not typically, and this is from, I follow Acid Yo, and I think Acid Yo follows me back as well. But this is, a blockchain farming sim that's being talked about, right? Own a farm, plant. It's basically a sandboxy type of idea. And look, you already got people that are kind of involved in this. There's a testing phase, so I guess this is going through beta or whatever. You get to see also the development in real time, right? So some of these things that aren't necessarily fully out distributed just yet, you get to go on the journey with the development of these apps as well. So you get to see how they are being built over time, the different kinds of iterations that are being, gone through and thought over. And pretty much you see in real time that development process, which is pretty amazing if you're someone who doesn't live in that world, right? So Acid Yo made a post that is, there's some graphics in here. There's obviously some explanation that happens. It's pretty appealing in terms of the coloration and stuff, which is another component of what's being included in this app that's being created. And then if you notice, there's tons of people afterward that are interacting. They're, saying, hey, votes of encouragement. They're giving feedback, their opinions, things like that. And all of these are chances for upvotes, for earning crypto, right? So a reply can earn crypto. And again, interaction with these posts can earn crypto. So, the idea being that this isn't a place that you just go to spew something that just kind of comes to your mind. Okay, there needs to be some level of actual thought process that goes into this. Okay, there has to be a level of quality that's being generated on this platform that puts you on people's radar. That people want to interact with your content. I'll show a couple more of these. Actually, on the Liberty community, again, I go through the walkthrough. If you are on hive.blog or one of the other front ends, you can subscribe to these communities. You can see the ones I'm subscribed to on the left. If I show you some of the new ones, I'll show you another one. This was an entry from Dilly, who is entered into the May 31st giveaway. Dilly's photography is absolutely fantastic. If I remember correctly, Dilly's also a street food vendor, so that's kind of like his main gig. But then on the side, obviously, he takes pretty incredible black and white photos here. And again, you're seeing a look into someone's life that you normally wouldn't have interacted with, right? Like this is someone from a different part of the world who, by the way, is writing a blog post about Liberty on the Hive blockchain and talking about what Liberty means to them, right? We are in an echo chamber quite often, especially, in America, talking about liberty and freedom and stuff like that. And quite frankly, a lot of the things that we end up kind of making big mistakes about, other people are living through in real time. Like they can tell you right now it's a bad idea. And they can tell you how important it is to hold on to certain aspects of your liberty and freedom. The people that have entered into the Liberty giveaway, the Hive Liberty giveaway for May, I'm telling you, they have all echoed these sentiments of liberty and freedom that are important to them, and they know firsthand from the lives that they're living, which again are lives that you wouldn't necessarily have been made your attention drawn to them because of the algorithms that specifically feed you things that are just kind of within a very small bubble that most of us live in, even though we have this immense opportunity to connect with people throughout the entire world. Lastly, in terms of like the way that you can sort things on just the hive.blog interface, again, trending, hot, new, you can see what the recent payouts are. And so any of the payouts that are like the largest payouts or the biggest ones, you can sort by how big the payouts are. Dan, we've had Dan on. Dan's one of the two at the head of 3Speak. So Dan puts a lot of stuff out in terms of this one. He's talking about power downtime and how that should happen in terms of. I think this is kind of like a personal life kind of thing, but it's also a lot of the people take the development that's happening on the Hive blockchain and equating it to these life principles or kind of what guides them and things like that. So you'll see a lot of that. I don't know if this blog post is specifically about that, but if you notice, it's not like one paragraph, right? Dan's posting about something that's substantive. He's trying to bring value to people, and he's Dan. So, a lot of people know of him because, 3Speak is one of the more well-known DApps that are on the Hive blockchain. But you'll notice it's a cross-section, right? You have people talking about development. You have people in the art area, right? Like on-chain art, a painting a day art challenge. Check this out. This has to have some look at that. So you're seeing essentially people's artwork that's been developed as a result of this challenge that people have been involved in, right? And look, it's all wide ranges of people's expertise or skill levels or their development. And again, this is like there's the judgment on here is all in the eye of the beholder, right? Like there's some mob mentality, there's some kind of like groupthink and stuff like that in terms of stuff that gets upvoted, but there's also these just like gems, these like nuanced little kind of gem type posts or pieces of content that in Web 2.0 world would not, have gotten attention. They wouldn't have gotten the same amount of exposure as in other places. And so just something to pay attention to. I mean, this is a different world. It is a learning curve that requires you to be uncomfortable, right? Like, quite frankly, I am someone who spends a lot of time, in tech and online and stuff like that. Even I'm uncomfortable. I find myself second guessing a lot. I find myself having to search for answers. But you know what? That discomfort or that uncomfortability, that's where growth and learning and development happens. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. If it was just as easy as just kind of like point and click and stuff like that, yeah, it'd be more accessible. But also on top of that, I don't know, you'd just be recreating what exists in Web 2.0. There is an ecosystem here that if you get involved in, believe me, you're going to get a return on investment in terms of your time and energy and everything like that you put into it. And who knows, you can find some new friends, and they might not be friends that are just like down the street or something like that. They could be in a country completely halfway around the world, and you click and it is humanizing because they are people that you never would have met and you would have thought were completely different than you. You strike up a conversation, you're like, wow, you're exactly like me. Or maybe you strike up a conversation, you're like, wow, like you're crazy exotic and I want to learn more, right? It is like exploration at its most base kind of value, its base core value. So that's really it for tonight. So that's all I have in terms of like those basic tips and tricks. Again, I didn't want to go over too much because I know Matt is going to have a lot more when I can reschedule him to come on. And maybe I'll push it a little later in the evening too to make it easier for him. But something I do want to call people's attention to is if I open up my schedule here coming up next week, let's see, I got Drew Hancock on Monday. He is coming on a little late at 8:30, and he's going to be talking about, he actually just put a video up on his YouTube channel about how he's not done with the Libertarian Party, but he doesn't want to be involved. It's just not his cup of tea, and we're going to talk about it. Why, what he's going to be doing instead, and things like that. Like I mentioned before, I'll have Jarvie on for a second time Tuesday night, talking about Peak D, talking about some more of the specifics of how Peak D is able to empower individual users to filter the information that is being presented to them. Wednesday night, I got Top Lobster on, the designer of, not this stuff, this is Blue Star Union stuff, but Top Lobster, who just came out with some awesome stuff for Shane Hazel. Just awesome designer, Liberty tees, hats, things like that. You usually see me with my little kind of like knit hat with the legalized freedom hat that he's got on there. So that should be good. And then Thursday we have another installment of Natural Rights Talk. So Josiah he's been emailing me like tons of information. And so he's actually, revved up for this next one. So should be really good. So that's a big week coming up again. And then the week right after that, Monday, is the drawing for the Hive giveaway. So if you want a chance at some free crypto, and again, you could earn crypto by actually posting and getting into the giveaway, check out the pinned tweet on Twitter, or check out the various videos that I have on YouTube or on the actual Hive blockchain showing you how to get into that giveaway and get a shot at free crypto. So that giveaway is Monday, and then Tuesday, in 2 weeks, we have an awesome pair of guests as well. That's gonna be fire. It's gonna be what's the phrase? It's gonna be lightning in a glass or a jar. It's going to be a really good one. So definitely keep tuning in Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Except Monday, this Monday coming up, I will be on at 8:30 p.m. So with that, everyone have a very good weekend. I appreciate you. And look, I'll see you on the blockchain. Definitely hit me up on Hive. Follow me. Throw some replies my way, or let me know you're on there, and I'll follow you back and follow your content and help you. I'll upvote your stuff and reply and things like that as well. So reblog it, get you some exposure. So I want to thank you all. Have a very good evening, and if I don't talk to you, have a great weekend.